Welcome to Pet Club 24/7 Thursday. We call it Thirsty for More Thursday. That's a Lydiaism. She's good at those sorts of things. We do these calls Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at this time as a place to invite new people to give them a sneak peek at what Pet Club 24/7 is all about. And it's real important to let the world know what Pet Club 24/7 is all about, because it sounds like it's obviously has to do with pets, but I would rather say it has to do with mammals. But I personally love the pet part because I believe that, for one, the pet industry is absolutely huge. It's larger than, as in terms of an industry, it's larger than weight loss, skin care, and the other one is it's similar to skincare, but three different categories that are common in network marketing companies. It's larger than all three of those categories combined. And beauty was the other category, so it's similar to skincare. But you combine those three categories in terms of market value, and the pet industry is larger than that and growing faster even, because people love their pets and they spend money on their pets. So it's a huge industry. But the other industry that we are involved in, and this goes for all mammals, is immune modulation or immune therapy. And that industry is, since the last 5 years, and the awareness that the last 5 years has generated, is staggering in its scope. It's headed to a $1.3 billion market. And we actually $1.3 trillion market, I'm sorry. And I want to get into the difference between the millions and billions, because the theme on tonight's call is just common sense. And we have, I think, lost a lot of the common sense in our society as a whole. I think there's been a glut of information, a glut of media, etc. And we lose our balance a little bit in terms of common sense, just riding that wave of information. But common sense is way more important. And the common sense part of Pet Club 24/7 is that their products actually work amazingly well for pets, but pets are mammals, and they're consistent across the board for all mammals. And what happened, actually, to a quick review of the story of how Pet Club 24/7 started, was the future founder of Pet Club many years ago, a couple of decades ago. His mother was diagnosed with a severe lung affliction, and she went to Sloan Kettering Institute, and they didn't give her a great prognosis, but she wanted everything they could do to do. And at the end of everything they could do, they said, it's still, we can't go any further. You have only 2 months to live, possibly as little as a month and a half. Go home and get your affairs in order. And it just so happened, as the son was calling family members, a family member happened to live in Japan. It was a cousin who is a doctor who was working with a team that was standardizing the Coriolus versicolor mushroom. And we know it's been used for thousands of years very effectively. It's been known to be anti-aging, health-promoting tonic as far back as ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, all through Europe. It's been used for millennia, and yet we didn't understand what made it work until modern times, when we had the laboratory access to actually analyze it. And upon doing that, they could track the most potent varieties. And in doing so, they found there were many, many varieties of the Coriolus versicolor mushroom, in fact, over 200 globally. And all of these different varieties have different potencies, because you can imagine, they grow in different parts of the world. They grow under different environmental stress factors. They develop different potencies. So they focused in on the line that had the most potency, and they found that even that had variations in potency depending on when you harvested it. So obviously they tracked it back to the most potent time, and it was counterintuitive. It's the mycelium that's most potent. And so that's when they begin to work with it and figure out how to extract all of those beneficial compounds, because some of them are very fragile and don't dry out well and don't transfer well to a consumable product. So with a lot of trial and error and a lot of modern science, they accomplished it. And when when Simon Liu, one of the founders of this company, found this out and found out that he could actually access this for his mother, they did so. They sent her some. And within 4.5 months, she was back at Sloan Kettering feeling like her old self. And the doctors were just flabbergasted because they looked at her file and said, "You shouldn't even be here." And they said, "What did you do?" And when she explained this mushroom extract, they said, "That sounds like something we need to study." So they actually had some sent there. And that's where it all started in the United States in terms of studies, was at Sloan Kettering. And the information they obtained was pretty phenomenal. Anytime that you do studies at Sloan Kettering and other health institutes observe those studies, they wanted to do their own studies because it was that intriguing. So MD Anderson picked them up, had the same findings, as did Loma Linda University, as did Harvard, as did many institutions. In fact, the American Cancer Society sponsored studies all across the United States to the tune of hundreds of studies, and they all said the same thing. So this group of individuals that started Pet Club 24/7, very successful. They'd made a lot of money in the past. They made money in marketing. One of the members, Stephen Youngblood, was a CEO of a billion-dollar company. They were very savvy. They knew how to market things, and they knew they had something very special in this product. In fact, they had access to the product that was studied because of the family connection. They ended up succeeded in bringing it to the US. It's now grown in organic greenhouses in California. And the quality control is extremely high. In fact, every batch is tested for efficacy, for potency, for purity, all of these things, very high level of quality control. So they did play around a little bit with it, and it was blowing their minds what it was doing, to the point that it scared them. Because in the marketing world, if you get those kinds of testimonials that they were seeing, they thought, well, we don't want regulators constantly knocking our door down. And while they were scratching their head, wondering what they were going to do with this great gift, they were at a cookout, and one of them had just put their dog down, 5 years old, too young. Dog had cancer. Two other members of the cookout said, same thing happened with us. They wondered if it would work for animals. They looked into it. Sure enough, veterinarian schools were already studying it. In fact, dogs with cancer were being studied. And the ones on this product were living 3 to 4 times longer than the ones that were not on this product. So they knew it worked for animals, and they thought, what a great way to bring it out into the world, because the regulatory issues aren't so great there. So the brilliance of that, I think, even escaped them at that time 8 years ago, because I believe they didn't fully understand and grasp the scope of the pet industry and how it was going to grow. COVID hits, people get pets because they're locked in their houses. The pets are just that thing that represents to us companionship. It's the epitome of unconditional love. It's the epitome of your best friend. There's absolutely no guile. They're just always there. They're very loyal. So people started gravitating towards pets. Now, about 70% of households have at least one pet. And so these people that have pets, Tracy, you have an open mic, just so you know. You might want to find your mute button. Appreciate it. Thanks. People that have pets want their pets to live long and healthy lives. And so they decided to bring products that were much healthier than what is typically available in the marketplace for pets, including this amazing immune system modulation added to their products. Well, that was a great idea, because pets started to turn around. Pets started to do amazing things, started to happen. And just like we witnessed with our dog, he completely started regrowing his fur within a couple of weeks. Within a couple of months, he had age regressed by about 3 years. And we literally got our dog back that we were talking about and having that tough discussion of when to put him down. So I was very grateful for that. I myself experienced an amazing relief of a lung affliction that I had, a virus that I couldn't clear out. And being in functional medicine for 45 years, I know what to do with a virus. And nothing was working until Kurt and Kristen Ludlow sent me product, and within 2 days it cleared out. So I knew we had something really special, especially as we watched the dog. My wife had a dental issue going on for months. Had been to the dentist 3 times with numerous procedures. They wanted to do a root canal. She, on 1 week, had no pain, no swelling, and has had no issues since. So in our household, we had absolutely amazing results. So by February, I was letting people know that we have something really, really special. But so common sense just has, as I alluded to, it's common sense to use a product that you know has immune modulation that's been verified and validated by the most prestigious health institutions in the world. Why wouldn't everyone want that? It's literally a whole food that conveys ancient wisdom and use for thousands of years, and things don't get used for thousands of years if it doesn't work, and it doesn't work well, and if there's no side effects, if there's no chance of risk of problems or issues or contraindications or other types of things. In fact, the average lifetime of a drug on the market is about 5 years. So for something to last thousands of years, literally, at least 5,000 years, going back with traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, you know that it's been stood the test of time. But you also now know that it's been standardized by modern technology around the most pure and potent strain. And we have that strain that these institutions have studied and came back with these glowing reports of immune modulation. It's something that everyone needs, and we know everyone needs it because there's a lot of uncertainty introduced, especially over the past 5 years, with things that just happen upon us and these unknowing types of things that created a lot of question marks, a lot of anxiety, a lot of angst, and people are a lot of fear. And we can really allay a lot of these things by, on a daily basis, just a common sense approach of utilizing the Coriolus versicolor mushroom in this great standardized form. And I look at the current health care industry, and my knowing the direction that it turned back over a century ago towards the chemical side of things, basically because of profit, basically because the individuals that started that whole process knew that healthcare would be huge, and they wanted to dominate it and own it, and they came from a background of oil and chemistry and things like that. So they wanted to develop a health system around that, and they discredited the other health systems that had been around for thousands of years and had proven themselves. And they were able to buy off lawmakers. A lot of that goes on still today. In fact, Big Pharma is the #1 lobbyist in Washington, D.C. by far. I think 3 times over the second most lobbied industry. And so Congress members are still getting bought off and paid under the table to make laws that go toward the favors, giving favors to things like drugs and drug companies and things of that nature. But here's what the result has been, and talk about no common sense. $4.9 trillion spent every year in the United States alone. And we talk about $1 trillion a lot these days. We talk about $1 trillion budgets. We talk about $1 trillion deficits. In fact, multiple $1 trillion deficits in the teens of trillions of dollars. And we've lost our balance in terms of how to analyze that. You know, what is $1 trillion? And just to put it in perspective, we all kind of have an idea or a grasp of a million, because we know of millionaires, we know $1 million bank accounts, we know $1 million houses. So a million is something you can kind of wrap your head around as an individual. But if you put it in terms of something else we can grasp, which is just time, 1 million seconds is just short of 12 days. So, you know, a million can be eclipsed pretty quickly in 12 days, if by seconds. So we can put our heads around that. We can visualize that and understand that. But you start talking a billion, you start getting a little bit beyond most people's grasp, because there are billionaires now, and many billionaires actually, and way more billionaires over the past 5 years, interestingly. But a billion would be, by seconds, would be just short of 32 years. So the difference between 12 days and 32 years, that's the difference between 1 million and 1 billion. But now what about a trillion? How big really is a trillion on comparison to 1 million and 1 billion? Okay, we have 12 days, 32 years, 1 trillion seconds would take 31,688 years. A billion seconds takes 32 years. A trillion seconds, 31,688 years. To put that into perspective, if you were to spend, or let's say you had a loan of $1 trillion, and it's a no interest loan because you were really lucky, you could not pay that loan off if you paid back $1 million an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You couldn't pay it off in your lifetime. And yet we're throwing around those numbers like it's nothing. And we're spending $4.9 trillion a year on healthcare. We should be living to 150 years old with that kind of money being spent. But what's actually happening is the incidence of disease is increasing. In fact, remarkably so, even since the 90s, but especially over the past 5 years. And life expectancy is going backwards. It's not going up, it's going backwards. Because we've separated ourselves from nature, we believe we can continue to poison ourselves. And don't get me wrong, sometimes medicines are necessary. And I have many doctor friends who prescribe medicines all day long, and they're frustrated. They tell me they have many patients that they wish they could say, go home and change your lifestyle a bit, start exercising a little, change your diet, reduce your stress, work on your relationship, things like that, then their health would improve. But the person is sitting in front of them, they have like 10 minutes max. The person wants something and the doctor knows it, and they have to get a diagnosis to pay for the visit. And the diagnosis always comes with a standard of care. And guess what the standard of care says? Certain meds. So the doctor, certainly within his rights, in fact, if he steps outside of the standard of care, could be liable. So the doctor whips out the prescription pad, writes a prescription, gives it to the patient, all the while knowing that that person would probably be better off without that substance that has an action that the diagnosis fits the diagnosis. But the thing about medicines is they're foreign to our body. It's a chemical. It's something that's so refined, the body doesn't recognize it, but it has an action. It does definitely have an action. I call it a vector energy. It drives something in a direction that you may need to go. But the difference is the body has innate intelligence. Our DNA, going back millennia through all of our ancestors, has told our body what to do on an ongoing basis. 24/7, all time, every second of every day, your DNA is communicating mechanisms throughout the body that are neurological, they're chemical, all of these different mechanisms that are driving the body into all of these balancing acts that send energy and messages to do this. And it's all based on feedback. There's a certain amount of a substance in the body. It's a feedback loop. And the body senses it, and it begins to shut it down if it's too much. And if it's not enough, then it speeds it up. And it's all of these signaling that goes on constantly. And you introduce something foreign into that, driving something one direction, it's not tapped into that infinite intelligence. Now it has to adapt and compensate around that. And that's a force that's going very powerfully in one direction. And that's hard to mitigate for innate intelligence to work with. But typically it does, and it can, because the body is so amazing and it can adapt and compensate and respond to those things. But if it goes on too long, or if there are other vectors added, and now you have these multiple energies driving these reactions certain directions, now the body has to constantly adapt and compensate for all of that going on. at some point it just breaks. It can't do it anymore. It's not natural anymore. It's not what the body is used to or able to tolerate. And the difference is we're dealing with a food that's been around for as long as life has been on this planet, that was recognized by ancient people for its benefit, that actually doesn't treat, doesn't cure, doesn't mitigate disease, but it does something, and it does it very well. It supports, it feeds the immune system in a very beneficial way, that it causes it to mitigate and balance itself, not mitigate, but modulate, to balance itself out so it functions normally again. And it also, in the process, very effective gut support, liver, those systems. The liver has over 600 known functions, everything to do with the blood, everything from metabolism and getting your fats and lipids correct, and balancing sugars and enzymes and hormones and all of the things that are the blood and are in the blood, even cofactors and immune cells, that the precursors of our immune system, all in the liver. So when you're supporting liver support and supporting the immune system and the gut, where much of the immune system lives, and the brain and the nervous system, that's why we get all of these many and varied results that people are seeing, not because the product is curing or treating, but because we're supporting the miracle that we were intended to be. Because the DNA is communicating more efficiently and more effectively that perfection that we were created to be. And that's the difference. That's what we have. And that's why it's just common sense that we talk about this, and that we share this, and that we bring people to these calls, because people are waking up. The past 5 years, one thing that it has accomplished is it's awakened a lot of people. I happen to have an early awakening as a young child because of my very difficult health in my early days, but it was actually a great blessing, because it caused me to peer behind the curtain. It caused me to work extra hard to figure things out. It caused me not to necessarily just trust and believe what, any snow job. It caused me to actually verify everything and look a little deeper. And that was a great thing. And it served me really well. And I think now a lot of people are waking up and realizing that we need to take more personal responsibility. We need to do a few things to help keep us stronger, more vital, or being able to be more active for longer, so we have longer, better, stronger years. And you want to be here as long as possible because of your family, mostly friends, family. You want to be around for as long as possible. I know, and one of the things I learned and got in touch with through all of those years that I'd struggled, is this isn't our permanent home. So it's not like we're going to live forever, but what we want to do is the years that we are here, we want to be good years. We want to be stronger and more effective in the years we are here. And we want to live in this realm as long as we possibly can. So that's where the common sense comes in. That's where we use things that we know make sense. And along those lines, just like my doctor friends know, if people would just change up their diet a little bit, eat a little more simply, fresh fruits and vegetables, go out and get a little exercise, a little sunshine, and couple that with using Coriolus versicolor mushroom, we could completely change the paradigm of health and wellness in the world. And that $4.9 trillion that's being spent every year, that's where the word mitigate will come in. We could completely mitigate that and change that. So the arguments around healthcare really shouldn't be who's going to pay for it, who's going to pay for it. It makes no common sense that you're spending that much and seeing the result we're seeing. The discussions need to be, what can we do to better assist this amazing miracle, which is life, in functioning at a higher level? That's the conversation. that we need to have, not who pays for a broken system. So anyway, that's my common sense theme. That was what was hitting me earlier. We really need to reawaken common sense in people and not continue to go down this road where there's just no common sense. And we typically ask for people. I didn't have anyone ahead of time scheduled for a testimonial, but I always welcome testimonials. So if anyone wants to step up, please do so. And let's share with us where you were and maybe what you're doing and where you are now.
Dr. Jerry, this is Dr. H in Tyler, Texas. And I'll tell you, out of all the years that I've taught nutrition and everything else, I was always telling people to prepare for the future. Because when you're young, I was always young and dumb. And I put my money in different things. But if I had to do over again, Dr. Jerry, I'd invest so much, whatever it takes, into this body. Now that I know about the mushroom that we're producing to everybody and the potency that it has, I have noticed that I sleep better. I can do my computer work without the secondary glasses to see the TV. When I'm driving, I still need the far stuff, but you know, I've seen a big difference in that, especially in my sleep and in my ability just to feel normal. And that's the things that I've experienced. And I encourage everybody to do what you can for yourself before you fall off the wagon. And so everybody said when you turn 60, brother, Dr. Jerry, it's downhill. It's a stinking drop off, let me tell you. And if you're not taking care of your body ahead of time, boy, are you behind the 8 ball. So thank you again for your information. I hope that encourages people to take a real look at this and turn their life around, not only for themselves, but for their children, their family, and their fur babies. God bless you, brother. God bless.
God bless you, brother. That's so amazing. And you mentioned like cost and investing in yourself. Imagine, you know, all the money that's being spent on healthcare in this country, and a bottle of Coriolus Versicolor is $40. And what it changes in you is amazing. It's priceless. It's literally priceless to me. To feel like I feel, to see what's happened with our dog, and then continue to live a life where I feel these unique changes that are different from where I was, you know, 4 or 5 months ago. So it's just living a different life. It's living better, and it's so worth it. Thank you, brother. Anyone else want to step up and keep in mind that your story can inspire others, and someone else that may be experiencing the same thing you experienced might be listening.
Well, Dr. Jerry, this is Jen, and I was on, but I just have to tell you that I won't say how old I am, but my grandchildren are all grown, and my life is back. I was just telling Penny, I'm so grateful she called me, because I'm not only stronger and emotionally fit, but my brain is working so much better. I'm doing things I haven't done in decades.
Awesome.
And so that's my story. But
that's a great story.
Yeah,
that's a great story.
Yeah,
I in fact feel like I'm operating like I was at least 20 years ago. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, I just had to step in here for a second, but gee, I can't believe it. I have my life back.
That's awesome. That's how I feel. I have my life back. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? I know we've got a lot of people on here that have testimonials. I know it because I talked to many of you. We'll take one more. Don't be shy.
Hey, Dr. Jerry,
Hey, Janice.
how are you?
Good.
Good, good.
Please share.
I've been on the mushrooms now since I started, and I've had an issue with my A1C being 6.9 and over. And I went just last week, and my A1C came in at 5.9, and my doctor was just ecstatic.
Right.
So I do know they work.
Yeah, they do work. And
Yep, they do.
sometimes when you're supporting health and wellness, it happens slowly. It doesn't give you that drug effect, like, instant energy, instant this or instant that. But the body doesn't work in instant ways. The body is constantly keeping you balanced. And if you allow the body to balance more easily, the body has less stress and can start slowly improving. But because it slowly improves, you might not have a good frame of reference of where you were 6 months ago. So a blood test like this is a great way to check in on that and validate and verify what's going on. So that's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go
Doctor-
ahead and wrap up with, go ahead. Did someone else want to say something?
Dr. Jerry, I'm just brand new to the company, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if anyone has seen an improvement in their eyesight.
Lots of people. In fact, me included.
Because that's
more often
my-
than not, I don't wear these during the day because I can see better without them in some cases.
Because I
In
am
some
a
cases.
super senior, I have no aches and pains, I sleep very, very well, etc. My only challenge is my eyesight. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Very good. And another correlation in traditional Chinese medicine, eyesight correlates with liver, as does the skin. So if you're supporting liver function, many things happen. Like I said, everything to do with the blood. And that includes lipids and it includes hormones and immune system precursors, but also it has a connection with vision and eyesight, just so you know.
That's great. I have been studying Buddhist medicine for over 60 years. I haven't had the flu in the last 50 years.
Wow.
So I am very, very healthy. It's just my eyes are
Yeah.
a challenge. So I'm really looking forward to this. I have,
Very good.
I teach people how to get healthy using plant medicines and diets. So this is going to be part of my cupboard of apothecaries.
It's a good thing to incorporate. It's very powerful. So you'll be very happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a friend of
Alright.
Jim Lavender's.
Well, I was wondering that because he'd mentioned your name, Tony, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
And Jim from Mount Montana as well.
Oh, very good. Yeah. I've known
Yeah.
Jim Donovan for a long time. Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
so
and
Jim,
Lapp, great people.
yeah, I've known both of them for over 30 years. And Jim Donovan and I were almost like soulmates. We talk on the phone for hours like teenagers.
Wow.
So I'm looking
Very good.
forward to this, and I'm going to be getting people to get on this Zoom call as often as I can. Thank you for
Great.
hosting them.
Really appreciate it. Well, I'm just going to build on that, and I'm going to go back to Dr. H saying, do this for your children, your grandchildren, and your fur babies. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility, I think, as individuals, but even more powerfully as a team of people. We can actually affect change in the world because as our numbers grow, and they will grow exponentially, because as this enters into the broader marketplace, and the exponential explosion on this will happen It just will happen. So we're probably about a year out from that real exponential growth. So congratulations to all of you that are here right now. You're a forerunner. You're literally a pioneer. You're in here early. And it's going to be very exciting to see what happens over the next few years. And we will have an impact on the world, I believe. And we can help bring down the costs, the spiraling out of control costs of healthcare. Because anytime you support people and support that mechanism in the body that keeps people well, you're on the right path. And that's the path we're on. So God bless you folks for being here. You're all truly, truly appreciated. And we'll be back again on Sunday. Hernan is actually he's on his way to Las Vegas right now. His son is getting married. So he wasn't able to be here tonight, and he will not be able to be here Sunday. But we'll be here. And I think maybe we can get Liddy to do a call on Sunday. I don't know. I see her here. I don't know if she's going to validate that on this. Going to put her on the spot. Anyway, I'll be talking with Liddy about doing Sunday's call, and we'll go from there. We'll see you all there. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Bye-bye.